Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on The Flash Season 9, Superman and Lois going forward. Just the Arrowverse and DCTV as a whole, you know how it is. So it wasn't too long ago that we got that report that came out from, I think it was either Deadline or Hollywood Reporter. It was one of those two. It was one of those two at the very least. I'm going to say it was Deadline, but no, I'm unlike it was most likely Hollywood Reporter. But anyway, one of the two. But it was about this reported contract that Grant Gustin, who of course plays Barry Allen, had signed for The Flash Season 9, which had him signing on for 15 episodes, which wouldn't necessarily mean like a possible ninth season would only have 15 episodes, but he at the very least would only be in 15 of the episodes in that season, with it also saying that for each of those 15 episodes he would be raking in more than $200,000 per episode. So for the whole season, over $3 million. You know, not a bad payday. I mean, I'd take that to run around, in some spandex for, a certain amount of time. I think most of us would. But that news led us to believe that Season 9 would be confirmed somewhat soon after that. But we still haven't got that renewal news or notice for not only The Flash, but other shows on the CW like Superman and Lois, for example. Now, of course, this impending sale of the CW has had people worried and questioning what that means for the shows, which is overall as a whole still unclear. But the Hollywood Reporter released a renewal and cancellation special article, if like special is a term you can use for the shows in the cancellation area. I mean, anyway. So this goes over all the networks in the United States, but of course we will be focusing in on the CW and I guess more specifically the DC shows on the CW. Now we do have the upfronts coming soon for the CW in around May, I think it is, where you'll get the official announcements, but the Hollywood Reporter of course has their ways and just tools to predict, pretty well the status of each show, though it needs to be said that some might not be 100% correct. So just, keep that in mind. But also the Hollywood Reporter does note that apparently, though there is that impending sale of the CW, the CW is just going ahead with business as per usual, and we could get some renewals as soon as like the next couple of weeks, if not maybe like the coming week. Like we could even get them this week, which would be for the more strongly performing shows, which we will highlight throughout this video. But of course, throughout the video, let me know in the comment section down below your general thoughts on all of this. I'm always curious to read what you guys are thinking, especially when it comes to news and certain breakdowns like this, and whether what side you go on, because some of the stuff here and some of the shows, Hollywood Reporter is sort of sitting in the middle. They don't really know which way it's going to go. So I'd be very curious to see where you think certain shows could go and sort of give like an honest answer. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video, you just want to show your support for the channel, drop a like on the video, helps the channel out, gets the videos out there and everything like that. Would very much appreciate that. Now to start off, because this is sort of like an important piece of information to include before we jump into specifics with each of the shows, but the CW doesn't really have a track record with cancelling a show after its season has ended, which at the moment is a situation that Legends and Batwoman are in. Especially shows that like are a few seasons deep. I mean, Legends is 7 seasons deep, Batwoman 3. It'd be surprising if they did anything in regards to cancellation or ending them. Maybe a show in season 1 could be at risk in this position. I think that maybe a show in its first season could be at a risk in this position, like ending and not having any news. I think that Katie Keene show from a couple of years ago finished its season, was just lingering for a few weeks, and then they announced that it was, wasn't continuing or that it was cancelled. Like a few weeks after the finale. I think that was the most recent example on the CW. And also, another thing to quickly include, some of the writers' rooms for the show, specifically Batwoman and Legends, have been saying on Twitter that, they have no news on renewals and everything like that. But even if they did, they wouldn't be able to say anything until the CW does anyway. Like, they have to sort of keep that under wraps until it's open. But yeah, let's just jump into what the Hollywood Reporter has to say about each of the DC shows on the CW, and we will go through them in just alphabetical order just to make things easier, and also it's the way that the Hollywood Reporter has it listed. So let's start off with the first DC TV show on the CW in alphabetical order in the form of Batwoman. Now, the Hollywood Reporter has Batwoman down as on the bubble for season 4. Now, on the bubble means that you are pretty much not certain for renewal, but also don't have a crosshair on you for cancellation. So you're just sort of, in the middle. Now, I haven't watched all of this season of Batwoman. I tapped out around like episode 4 or 5 or something like that. And I said also like publicly in some other places and just told myself, I would go back and binge it once the season is done, which is the case right now. So I will probably end up doing that over the next couple of weeks. But from what I've heard from everyone that's, watched the show this season, season 3 was the best they've done so far, as like an overall season. So that could play a part in it sticking around and getting a season 4. That has always been a lot of people's opinion and reasoning for Legends getting renewals season after season due to their loyal fan base and everything like that. So that could work out for Batwoman as well. Next up, we have The Flash, or The Flash, as most people would call it. Now, The Hollywood Reporter has The Flash down as a lock to return for season 9, but the end is near, which is what is always put when a show is closer to its finish line than its start. So with The Flash, it's 9th season, so that's pretty obvious. So a lock means it's a certainty, like you can lock it in, it's going to be there next season. So we were talking about The Flash earlier in the video due to all that Grant Gustin contract stuff that came out a few weeks ago. Now this would be one of the cases where you see a March renewal, like we were talking about before, where maybe we could get them this week or in the next 2 weeks or something like that. I'd say anything that is seen as a lock would be something that they would renew as early as possible, so they can start work on the next season officially and openly. If The Flash does only get 15 episodes for season 9, meaning Grant Gustin would be in every episode, it makes you wonder whether they would make the show premiere in January, or whether they maybe do something similar to this season where you have 5 episodes like Armageddon or something around that number, and then have the Christmas break, and then air the remaining episodes in the new year after that Christmas break. Obviously, that's for us to wait and see, but I would be curious to see how they would structure that season, considering it's it's an odd number for The Flash specifically as a show, 15 episodes. So yeah. Next up is Legends. So The Hollywood Reporter also has Legends on the bubble for season 8. So Batwoman, was for their 4th season. Now, we went over the whole on the bubble thing with Batwoman, but as I said, Legends has that fan base that tunes in every week. Their numbers are probably the most consistent in regards to staying around the same numbers on the CW. They're definitely not the highest, but they are super consistent. They're usually pretty much within 50 to 100,000. I'd say 50,000 viewers mostly. They're around that ballpark, which is extremely consistent for TV. I'm not saying they get 50,000 viewers, by the way, but they only go up or down 50,000 viewers by week. So that's why they're so consistent. And in their season 7 finale over the past week, they didn't end it or play it out like a series finale. They actually set up a new storyline for next season. So I think Legends is probably in a better spot for renewal than Batwoman, but they are still around the same area like the Hollywood Reporter, has them in this list. Next up is Naomi. Now, this is, of course, the newest show to the DC Universe on the CW, and this, of course, is completely disconnected, which I don't think is helping the show, and also I think the pacing is a bit off, but the Hollywood Reporter has Naomi down as could go either way. So this is pretty much on the bubble, but for a new show. So it could easily get renewed for a second season, but it could easily get cancelled after its first season as well. Now, the thing that might help it out is that it does go to HBO Max after its season, like we see with Superman and Lois, Batwoman, and Stargirl. And Naomi as a show is structured as a binge type show. It doesn't really feel like a week-to-week show like The Flash or Superman and Lois or even Stargirl, now that I think about it. So it could gain an audience on the streaming service once it hits there. So the CW and Warner Brothers could take a gamble on that and renew it for season 2, hoping that it resonates on HBO Max maybe more than it does on the CW. But as the Hollywood Reporter does say, it could go either way. So who knows? We're going to have to wait probably until May to see what's going on there. Next up, Stargirl. Obviously, it hasn't even aired season 3 yet, so it's hard to really be confident on anything in regards to this and its 4th season, but it performs pretty well on the CW and on HBO Max as well. But yeah, hard to really give too much thought to this, to Stargirl at this point. Obviously, it's going to be curious to see where they premiere this. I would assume it probably might take Superman and Lois's spot when that ends, but that's a wait and find out. I'm sure we'll find out probably in May, but then again, they might premiere in May. I don't know. We'll find out. Now, the Hollywood Reporter, for some reason, has Supergirl on their list here, which is weird because Supergirl was a part of last season's TV. I mean, it ran alongside Stargirl season 2. So yeah, they have said, they have it written down here, ended with 6th and final season. I mean, obviously we know that, a bit random that they included it, but I thought I'd mention it because it's on the list. And finally, Superman and Lois. And like they had with The Flash, the Hollywood Reporter has Superman and Lois down as a lock, an LOCK, to return with a 3rd season, which is obvious. I mean, Obvious. Like, that's all I can say. Obvious. But overall, even outside of the DC shows on the CW, it actually does look like the CW will renew most of their shows, but we of course do have 3 confirmed pilots filming soon for possible spots in next season's TV slots. One a prequel, we have 2 prequels and a new DC show. So Gotham Knights is the new DC show, and then we have a Supernatural prequel, easily one of the most popular shows the CW's ever done. So a prequel to that, which will have fans, and then a prequel to The Walker, which is currently the most popular show week to week on the CW. So those 3 are probably going to get picked up. It'd be very surprising if they didn't. So the CW is going to have to make room. However, there's a couple of shows, especially some new shows this season, that came out this season, which I think were dead on arrival, which Hollywood Reporter even notes in their article if you do want to go look at the other CW shows. So I don't know if you're going to see necessarily any of these shows replace a current DC show outside of maybe Naomi. And then there are other possible shows like the Diggle-led Justice You spin-off, which I don't think is going to do a pilot anyway, so don't get worried that they haven't announced a pilot for that show. If it does happen, it's most likely just going to go straight to series, which does happen. But we have to wait on news about that. So these next couple of months leading into May, where you get the proper CW upfronts, will be very, very interesting to see what goes down. But of course, I'll try and keep everyone updated with any major stuff that does come out. So just stay tuned. Keep your eyes, ears, and orifices open. Sounded a bit weird. Terrible way to end the video, but anyway. But thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, outside of maybe that weird ending. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on the video to show support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions on all this. Where do you think certain things might go? Especially the stuff in the middle, like Legends, Batwoman, and Naomi. Which way do you think those shows are going to go? And are you just looking forward to these shows having another season? Let me know all your opinions down there in the comments. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.